In our fast-changing world, when a single idea can transform an industry overnight, it's an exciting time to be an entrepreneur. I founded Pitch at Palace in 2014 to recognize and support the vital role that entrepreneurial activity plays and will play in the future economies of the United Kingdom and the world. And today, Pitch at Palace is a thriving network of entrepreneurs and audience, one receiving ongoing support and the other helping to accelerate their growth. The interconnectivity in today's global economy extends to start-up and scale-up businesses, providing valuable employment opportunities for everyone. Our experience in the United Kingdom has led us to develop Pitch at Palace Global, and we're excited by the number of countries that wish to bring pitch into their developing entrepreneurial ecosystems. The Pitch at Palace Global program now operates across all continents, delivering support for their entrepreneurial businesses, giving their and our alumni access to crucial international markets across the world, providing connections that count and access to markets that drive revenues. And we deliver this through our audiences giving mentorship and advice, providing access to distribution systems or supply chains, making connections, and finally, investment in the various businesses. And our universe extends well beyond the usual constellations of the startup scene. We are incredibly proud of the impact we are able to make in generating many millions of new economic activity and, importantly, creating thousands of new and sustainable jobs. Pitch at Palace continues to be a beacon for the very best in global entrepreneurship and innovation. And it is my ambition to keep hatching world-changing ideas. So, whether you're a radical young business that's ready to take on the world or a business leader who knows the power of imagination to transform established markets, it's your time to get involved. Pitch at Palace. It's your time.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Just one small piece of admin before we get completely started. Those of you who've got an empty chair next to you, can you move into it to the middle so that if anybody comes in towards the end that they can then slot in on the end. It would just make life a little easier if we've got because there's always somebody who wants to find a seat at some point. That means, Charles, you can't have two seats to yourself, but never mind. There we are. Good. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Pitch at Palace we did 4 years ago with the intent of trying to add value to starting and scaling businesses in the UK. And as you've seen from the video, that we have expanded it and tested it in an overseas market in 2015 and 16, and then finally went global last year, and we're now in a large number of countries. It was 60 at the last count. Well, that has been blown out of the water by what we are doing today, because we've got 42 different nations represented today from the Commonwealth. And I am truly grateful to everybody who has helped in bringing these entrepreneurs not only to our attention, but also bringing them here. And I have to say that you will be amazed by what you are going to see and hear this evening. As was said in the video, we are looking for a number of things, but I am specifically looking for one thing from you, the audience, this evening. I'm looking for you to make one follow-up action with one or more of these entrepreneurs, because when you hear them, and we have discovered this on numerous occasions, you cannot underestimate serendipity, because all of you will suddenly go, oh, I know exactly who that person or that business needs to be put in touch with. And connections from this evening's events will make a huge difference. But there are other aspects to this. The mentorship is very important, and people who want to go on boards is very important. But these businesses need to be able to grow their revenue. And so being able to access distribution systems or supply chains will help them more than you can understand. And finally, investment. I'm not expecting anybody in this room to make an immediate investment this evening unless you wish to do so. Because the relationship that you as an investor have to make has got to be with that individual business. So the other part of this is make your connection with the business that you want to pursue after this pitching session is over. The other aspect of this is that I have instructed every single one of our entrepreneurs this evening that they will make an ask. If they don't, then the man charged, David, is going to ask them the question of what is their ask, because they've got to have a specific ask this evening. There is one regret that I have this evening, which is unusual, but it is that you do not have 3 hours to spare rather than an hour to spare sitting on these incredibly uncomfortable seats. The whole idea of giving you uncomfortable seats is it stops you going to sleep. And it makes you stay awake and pay attention. But the reason I say that is that it has been incredibly difficult to reduce these wonderful entrepreneurs down to 12 who will give you a 3-minute pitch. Because every single one of them actually could interest you. They've all got a business that would interest you, and having the ability to be able to give them their 3 minutes would have been fantastic. But time does not allow. Our new format in the UK version of this is to give those entrepreneurs who don't get 3 minutes 30 seconds. And so we are going to give you all of them this evening. And so you will have 12 for 3 minutes, and the rest will come on very quickly and give you a 30-second pitch. This is so that you recognize the face, and you can put a face to your brief that you have in your lookbook, so that you can then follow up afterwards. So, sit back, relax, and I'm praying that somebody will run over time, because these two here, these two wonderful guardsmen are here in order to time keep and to make sure that they stop. And I can assure you that when they hear the trumpet, they will stop. But you can also watch them look nervously as they start their drill sometime before the 3 minutes is up. There is a time clock here, but I can't guarantee whether it tells the truth or not. Enjoy the rest of this evening, and I will come back at the end to give you the ultimate results. Thank you very much indeed.
Biotech and medical technology. A 3-minute pitch from Canada, Orpix Medical, telling you more about diabetes care and what they're doing. Brianne Everett.
Every 20 seconds, a limb is lost due to diabetes. The underlying issue is that the majority of people with diabetes will actually lose feeling in their feet, and they can wear holes in the bottom of their feet just as someone might wear a hole in a sock. This leads to ulcers in 1 in 4 people with diabetes, and it's actually the leading cause of hospitalization related to diabetes. The global cost of this problem is $825 billion annually for diabetes care, a third of that being attributable to foot-related care. This is fueling a massive wound care industry that is literally founded upon Band-Aid solutions that never actually address this underlying issue. It's a massive problem, and there are devastating complications leading to loss of limb and loss of life. But we're at an incredible point in time because we now have technology that can actually solve this. This device is the SuroSense RX insole system. It's a thin, pressure-sensitive insole that sits inside the shoe, takes in pressure and sensor data over time, processes that through a number of algorithms, and then provides activity-based feedback to the user to prevent wounds from happening in the first place. In October, we finished a 3-year randomized controlled trial out of Manchester Metropolitan University that was funded by Diabetes UK. That study showed that with this simple device, we were able to reduce 71% of wounds from happening in the first place. When you look that a single event will cost somewhere between 35 to 50,000 pounds to care for, this can make a huge impact in the health system. But what's more interesting is that this device has very broad applications. We can do health quantification, we can predict outcomes of health, we can do sports performance optimization and injury prevention. But the diabetes aspect is really where we can make a huge and tremendous impact. We can offer personalized care that's cost-effective and efficacious, not a one-size-fits-all solution for patients. In the UK, there are 4 million people living with diabetes. 1 million of those people will develop wounds over the course of their disease. We have a technology where we can solve this issue, and it's our responsibility to bring that to the people who need it the most. So what I'm interested in tonight is finding individuals who are interested in introducing us to the innovation group within NHS, as well as NHS Scotland. So if you do have connections here and you're interested in making those introductions, please speak to me after. Together, we can leverage data and technology to end preventable limb loss. Thank you.
Brianne, this looks very simple.
Yes.
Tell us what's inside it, what the complications are that mean your business will beat any other one that tries to get into this space.
So there are multiple layers to this technology. The insert itself is a pressure sensing insert. So embedded in this thin, flexible film is a series of pressure sensors that measure the bottom of the foot. It's a challenge to get pressure sensors to work reliably and durably in a very hostile environment like a shoe. So we are able to make this work for a year of continuous use. The next layer is the electronics themselves and the algorithms, and we really leverage data analytics and machine learning to make use of the data that we're collecting at the level of the foot. And then it's that processing through those unique algorithms that makes the device what it is and gives that really personalized, directed feedback to the user so that through either an app on a phone or a watch, they're able to modify their behavior in the real world in real time and actually empower themselves to take care of their feet again.
Hurrah. Brianne?
Thank you.
In a 3-minute pitch from Nigeria about tech for legal services. It's called DIY Law. And to present, Funkola Odeyele.
Your Royal Highness, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at DIY Law, we empower entrepreneurs by providing transparent, simple and affordable legal services through the use of technology, legal know-how and project management. In 2015, I met Temi. She had successfully hosted many blood drives, and at this point, she was looking to introduce a logistics and technology angle to connect blood banks and blood donors with hospitals and patients who required blood. She needed to register her business, and she also needed agreements as well as to get the requisite business permits. This would have taken her a minimum of 6 visiting at least 4 government agencies, high costs, as well as engaging several lawyers. Temi was at her wit's end. And this is the same with many Nigerian entrepreneurs. We are faced with many challenges that limit our ability to compete with our peers globally. Access to and high cost of legal services is one of these challenges. Inability to access legal services, especially business registration services, limits expansion, job creation, access to finance, and also the growth of a vibrant SME sector, which is critical to economic development. At DIY Law, our mission is to make legal less challenging, accessible, and affordable for African entrepreneurs, starting in Nigeria. We provide automated legal documents, automated business registration services, free simplified legal content, and we also connect entrepreneurs with lawyers who are committed to helping the SME sector. This year, we're accelerating our offline services by setting up kiosks in markets and rural areas to make our services accessible and closer to people without technology and internet access. We're also looking to expand to other African countries, starting with Kenya. We've partnered with organizations that are committed to empower entrepreneurs, such as the Enterprise Development Center, the Fate Foundation, the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, as well as the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We're a female-founded technology company made up of 2 lawyers and 1 web developer. In 2015, we were awarded by the Hague Institute for the Innovation of Law with the Innovating Justice Award for SME Empowerment. We've also been recognized by One.org as one of the startups in Africa leading the way to ending poverty in Africa. Our ask is to be connected to Justin Khan, the co-founder of Atrium, as we are keen to foster the conversation between the intersection of law and technology. We're also looking to fundraise in the 4th quarter of this year, so if there's any member of this esteemed audience who is looking to partner with us on this journey, I'll be happy to take your contact details after this. At DIY Law, we love entrepreneurs, we empower entrepreneurs, and we are entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Nkola, what's the hardest thing about building an ambitious startup?
There's a lot of hard things. I think one of them will be finding people who believe in your dream and who are ready to partner with you on the journey.
So when you're recruiting people, how do you make sure you get the right fit?
It's pretty difficult. We try to build a culture very early, and we've had people leave our establishment because they're not a fit for the culture. So it's really difficult, but we're getting there. We also have a couple of good hands who are committed to the business. We got them to buy into us very early on.
The next one is from Trinidad and Tobago. It's Jody White to present Slim Down 360.
So babies can't feed themselves, and we've realized neither can we. You see, in Trinidad and Tobago, agriculture was once prosperous and proud, but then we discovered oil, and nobody wanted to go back into the fields. So today we're stuck importing up to 90% of the foods that we eat. Now, wheat-based pastas are a staple in almost all kitchens back home. But I'm from the Caribbean. We don't grow wheat. Wheat is the most imported commodity. So when that oil money runs out, and it is going to run out, and we can't import anymore, what do we eat? I'm Jody White from Slim Down 360, and with our innovative products like our sweet potato and cassava pastas, we are going to bring the Caribbean one step closer to realizing food security. Now, these products have been so successful that in the last year, we've purchased and processed over 40 tons of local produce, creating a sustainable agro-industry for a generation of new farmers. Now, what's even better is that our production lines are designed to be adaptive, so we can produce a host of other products with the same equipment. Cassava flour, sweet potato fries, even an instant mashed sweet potato and cassava blend. A healthier substitute for imported instant mashed potatoes. And it tastes better too. So, when you go to the supermarkets, what do you look for in your food? Something that's healthy, natural, tasty, farm to table, gluten-free, no artificial colorings, flavorings, or preservatives, you're looking for products like these. And that is why this has such a global appeal. Now, the Slimline 360 company has had a history of success. Starting in 2010 as a meal production company out of my mother's kitchen, we've grown it to the largest name in healthy eating back home, with over 1 million items delivered since. So our ask is for an introduction to distributors like Ocado and Booker's, so that we could bring these products with an easier retail access to the UK market. We are ready to bring these products from our fields to your family's meals. Thank you.
And only 180 calories per serving. Jodie, it's a very competitive market. How are you going to break through?
So firstly, we are the only producers in the world to produce pasta made from sweet potato or cassava. This actually has the world's highest level of potassium in any pasta. We qualify for heart-healthy labeling, and also in the fitness industry. No other pasta has this level.
And what capacity for manufacturing do you have at the moment?
We can produce up to 1 ton per day. I have peeled a lot of sweet potatoes by hand to get to this point.
Applause for Jodie and his mum.
Thank you.
And thanks to all in that amazing section. Now we move on to biotech and medical technologies. And we start with a very bold business called Control Bionics that's reading the electrical signals inside your muscle. Control devices from Australia. Peter Ford.
Your Royal Highness, fellow humans, imagine not being able to move or speak to your fellow humans. My name is Peter Ford. I'm the founder of Control Bionics, an Australian company based in Sydney. In 1981, I was a computer programmer on a US government research and development team whose mission was to enable severely disabled veterans to communicate again using computers. I was also learning about Professor Stephen Hawking, that massive intellect trapped in a body that was no longer working. I thought, if you could take the neuroelectric signals downstream from a brain and patch those into a computer, you could restore communication. But the technology to enable that did not emerge for several years. The Shori EMG clinical monitor began to be used around the world by doctors to diagnose and treat muscular disabilities using those neuroelectric signals. I wrote a program to analyze those signals and recognize the specific pattern generated inside a muscle the instant the brain told it to fire, even if the muscle did not respond. With a professor in the United States, we trialed it with patients until we knew it worked. I emailed Dr. Hawking. We met in Cambridge. We attached the neuroswitch. It worked. I was elated. He was not. In his robotic voice, he announced, "Your software is no good." I was disappointed. I went back to Sydney, coded, recoded, checked, recoded again, emailed him again. We met again, and this time, within 30 seconds of connecting neuroswitch, he used it to control that robotic voice to say, "I am always being mistaken for Stephen Hawking," which he thought was hilarious. For the next 5 years, I visited Cambridge for him to beta test each new generation of neuroswitch. He was the toughest teacher to take your homework to. But our team was beginning to change the lives of people who needed it. A merchant banker who could no longer move or speak, who used neuroswitch to go online with his teenage daughter to buy a prom dress for her first school dance. A US Marine veteran who could no longer move or speak, who used neuroswitch to write a love note to his wife every morning before she woke up. Last July, we created the next breakthrough in this technology. Neuronode is wearable, has everything on board, the computer, the EMG monitor, and wireless to control your phone, your computer, your iPad. Last month, our CEO, Rob Wong, put this on the arm of a 7-year-old girl who could no longer move or speak, and within minutes she learned to control the voice on her iPad, the robotic voice, to say out loud, "I would like a baby sister," and a puppy. We are looking for investment to enable everybody to put this on, switch it on, and with renewed independence and dignity, say out loud, I am here, and I matter. And I want a puppy.
Peter, that was the 3-minute version. There's probably going to be a 3-hour movie made about this. It sounds like it's a new branch of science. So it's a combination of electrical engineering and maybe robotics?
It does that, but it's actually what so many innovations are now, and it's a combination of other things that have scientific base, but an innovative way of using them in a new combination.
Can you protect what you're building?
We have IP protection, we have patents, we also have governments now who are starting to see the economics of enabling a disabled person to communicate and become independent. It's much more economic to enable a person to be cared for at home when they can communicate and be independent, and like Professor Hawking, remain highly functioning throughout the course of their disability.
And the cost per patient to empower somebody to use these devices?
Right now, it costs $15,000 US. That is currently being funded by the Australian NDIS, the insurance service, by the Australian Veterans Administration, by the US Veterans Administration, and Medicare is about to come online. New Zealand was an early adopter, and we are finding more and more governments and institutions who see the economics of enabling people with severe disabilities to communicate and become more independent with this technology.
Control Bionics, thank you, Peter from
Thank you
Australia.
very much.
Amazing. Diverse entrepreneurs from so many places with so many different types of ideas, but you now have the hard job. Everybody in here, including the entrepreneurs, gets to vote. And what you need is your pitch at the Palace app on your smart devices. You've got about 3 minutes to make your decision. If you are not on the Wi-Fi, it's pitch at Palace, and the password is capital P for pitch 2018 with an exclamation mark at the end. If you're going on social media, Pitch at Palace is the hashtag. So when you signed into the app, click on the vote button, which takes you to a page where you can choose up to 3 entrepreneurs, and then you cast your vote. If you have any problems, there are some Pitch at the Palace team members with the light blue badges around, so just raise your hand if you have a problem and somebody should come and help you out. So you've got about 3 minutes to vote, and I think we're going to show a bit of a video on Neville Hyman, Nev Hyman won the Pitch at the Palace Global.
Our mantra has been that we need to make it as simple as possible. People get really excited about their own home. Even if you're renting, it's still going to be, hey, I built that.
So make your final choices, and we're going to bring you the name of the people's choice in a few moments, and the Duke of York will also announce the first place and the runner-up. You have 1 more minute to vote, and also the contact details of the entrepreneurs are in the blue book, so if there's anybody you don't get to meet this evening, follow up afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, entrepreneurs, the Duke of York should have some results.
Somebody obviously didn't make that properly. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much indeed for suffering in the heat and the uncomfortable chairs. I hope it hasn't been too uncomfortable for you. Look, I first of all thank you for participating, and I know that some of you have already been emailing and contacting the entrepreneurs. I would also like to say thank you to all our entrepreneurs from around the Commonwealth who have done an outstanding job at telling us about their particular business, and all of them, I think you would agree, my regret is probably we should have been able to hear all 40 of the, or 41, 42 of them for 3 minutes, but time is against us. But I have a couple of thank yous that I must make, and the first is to Tan Sri Lee Kim Yu, who has been an enormous help to, if he could sit down or stand up, he has helped us bring the entrepreneurs here, and I'd just like to say thank you very much indeed for what you have done. More broadly, I would like to thank all our corporate partners who have continued to show faith, and I hope that this is another demonstration of our ability to deliver. So thank you for your fantastic support and helping us to deliver on these events. I'd also like to say thank you to the High Commissions who have been an enormous amount of help in putting this on. About 6 months ago, when this idea was first thought, we thought it could be quite simple. It has not proved to be simple by any manner of means. And there is just one other organisation I would like to thank, and that is the department that runs our immigration to sort out any of the bureaucratic mess that sometimes ensues in delivering of visas, and so thank you to them. And again, lastly, the entrepreneurs have done an outstanding job, so thank you all very much indeed. So, now then, the results. The People's Choice Award, I'm led to believe by some margin, is Slim Down 360. I have, the voting has been really interesting to watch. Stand over there. Don't get too close to those two. Has been very interesting to watch because it's been nip and tuck all the way, and it's been very hard to be able to differentiate at the top. So there are two who have tied in third places in the voting, and they are DIY Law and the other one's already here, 360. The second is Orpix Medical Technologies. And tonight's winner, not unsurprisingly, I suspect, in some people's views, is Control Bionics. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this evening. Now is your time to connect with all the businesses that you've heard next door.